Happy Friday, everyone. Jazz Bergonzo here. Another What's Next. After my last video, a huge decision from SCOTUS in regards to protecting the Second Amendment, of course, per the Constitution. And, of course, the leftists losing their minds. And, of course, you can't have leftists without having the wokeness. Let's take a look. This comes out of Outkick. Stop apologizing to the woke masters. Let's get this opening by Clay Travis.
I have argued for a long time, I'll be honest with you, that the way to combat all of the crazy wokeness in this country was to argue for normalcy instead.
Correct.
Right? To argue that, hey, we shouldn't have super woke sports. I think now that Ron DeSantis is starting to prove what we finally agreed with in Outkick, which is you can't keep getting slapped in the face and saying thank you and doing nothing about it.
Thank you. May I have another?
Instead, what needs to happen is there needs to be an aggressive posture put in place. And that's what Governor Ron DeSantis is doing. Make there be stakes when woke companies make decisions, push back against them, and show them that there is a cost. Because sooner or
actually be on the offensive. And, of course, that is our wonderful nation's governor, one Ron Macho Man DeSavage. An apology used to mean sincere remorse for an error or moment of bad judgment. Apologies now are often acts of surrender, a plea to woke masters for just one more chance, please. Today, people apologize because they're more afraid than truly sorry. Public figures believe that apologies ease tensions in such a divided culture. It doesn't. They're wimpy, inevitable. Apologies are what fuel the outrage crowd by validating their hypersensitivity. Each week on Q, some person of influence issues an apology to, quote, those offended. And last week, the perpetrated offended scored 2 quick wins. First, 75-year-old crime author James Patterson apologized for noticing that publishing companies are not looking to hire white male authors anymore. Next, Rainn Wilson from The Office said he was very sorry for joking about the term used to describe trannies who breastfed. Wow. Here are their official letters of regret. Per James Patterson, I apologize for saying that white male writers having trouble finding work is a form of racism. I absolutely do not believe that racism is practiced against white writers. Please note that I strongly support a diversity of voices being heard in the literature in Hollywood everywhere. And of course, Rainn Wilson. Yesterday, I tweeted a mean crack about breastfeeding versus chest feeding. After speaking with some trans friends and educating myself a bit more, of course, groveling and getting on my knees, I wanted to apologize for the tweet. It was adding to the misinformation and meanness. I'm sorry. These attacks and subsequent apologies are indicative of a society suffering from severe insecurity and self-loathing. Lisa Booth, host of the often viral Truth podcast, discusses this phenomenon in a conversation with Outkick. Quote, why do people hate themselves so much? Stop apologizing for the way God made you, Booth said of Patterson's instant apology. It just is embarrassing. Shut up already. Embarrassing but consistent. And yet, these apologies have been futile. Yes, according to the Borg. The politically correct currently have spikes ready for the heads of Commanders coordinator, Redskins defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio, and Washington Post columnist Dave Weigel, who respectively asked for forgiveness after tweeting and retweeting content that fellow blue checkers did not authorize to share. Always check for approval before hitting send. Apologizing to the entitled strangers online rarely proves effective, and, quote, I'm sorry does not make the woke go away. It's only a sign that you are frightened and thus willing to succumb to their creepy cult. And yes, once you say sorry to the woke, they own your ass. The sacraments of the woke are not forgiving. Remember that when someone digs up tweets from your teenage years and demands an apology from the fetal position. Sorry, woke master, forgive me. On the other hand, the mob has proven vulnerable to those who refuse to bow down to its orders, despite its vilest efforts. Last fall, Barstool founder Dave Portnoy, a multi-cancel culture survivor, was the subject of what was clearly a witch hunt to eliminate him from the public space. Business Insider published a hit piece on Portnoy that sought to portray him as an aggressive sexual deviant. The report cited 2 unreliable sources. The report dismissed contradicting evidence to reach its preferred conclusion. Most people in Portnoy's position would have issued an insecure apology to all parties involved. PR firms often advise clients to apologize and show faux sympathy, even when they maintain their innocence. But Portnoy didn't do that. Instead, he released text messages that Insider ignored and that ultimately exposed the report as fraudulent and defamatory. Portnoy never apologized, and he won. Imagine that. Similarly, comedian Dave the Legend Chappelle, the Savage himself, refused to retract jokes that he made during an October stand-up special called The Closer, the biggest watched comedy event in Netflix history. The moment the press labeled Chappelle's shows transphobic, the comedy industry expected Chappelle to lay down and take it without KY and make amends to the purportedly offended. He didn't. Rather, Chappelle doubled down on his right to practice comedy and let the critics call for his career to no avail. Chappelle proved that the mob doesn't have a second gear for those who do not comply. As a result, Netflix is no longer afraid of angry social media posts. The company has since released a memo to staffers announced that it will not censor specific artists or voices, even if employees consider the content, quote, harmful or butthurt. Social justice warriors are not that terrifying when you poke them in the face and from underneath the covers and look at them in the eyes. Their smear campaigns work only if the target responds accordingly. We are dealing with savants and with some great, we aren't dealing with savants and some great backup plan to take over society. So stop trying to compromise with a group that does not compromise. Yes, they feel no remorse. They show no pain. They don't give two fucks. The same scary vultures demanding atonement for using the OK sign because they think that white power hand gesture actually thought American families would gather together to watch Buzz Lightyear promote same-sex kissing. They are incompetent and far from intimidating. Apologizing to this pack of fanatics doesn't make you reasonable or hip. It makes you complicit in the baddie culture that which most basic words in the English language are subject to political weaponry. We take you back to last September when Survivor host Jeff Probst apologized for using the word guys in his signature phrase, "Come on in, guys." For 20 years, I've used that one phrase to call people in for challenges. Probst said, "I love saying it. It's part of the show. But I too want to be of the moment. Yes, I too want to kiss the ass and kiss the ring of the woke." Unfortunately, there is no saving the eunuch celebrities and politicians who walk on eggshells because everything is apparently now a form of culture appropriation. But perhaps there's hope for other members of society, whether they are a journalist or someone important like a semi-driver. So when some schmuck pretending to be to represent feelings of marginalized communities comes for you, and they eventually come for everyone, don't go bending the knee. Don't go bending over. Don't go grabbing your ankles. They don't have a sword to your throat. They have a Twitter account with flags all over it. Of course, Miss Booth and also Clay Travis are 1,000% correct when it comes to the woke. You don't adhere to them. You don't acknowledge them. You don't bend the knee. You don't grab the ankles. You don't grovel. You don't do any of that shit. You fire back.
Hi. Hi. Nice to see you. You don't have a mask on anymore. What's going on?
Do you have a minute to
well,
chat?
we're 6 feet apart.
Do you have a minute to chat?
I'll do an interview.
Okay.
As long as it airs on CNN+.
Boom.
Does that still exist? I didn't think
Boom.
so, because the people don't like what you guys are peddling.
Oof.
It's just propaganda. Thank you.
Ow. Emotional damage. I can't do it. That guy's just too good at it. But that's pretty much in a nutshell. That is how you answer the woke. That is how you strike back against them. You go on the offensive. You don't let them come after you, even though they will. But at the end of the day, you know, it's just like a bully. Once you punch the bully in the mouth, the bully no longer is a bully. He's a pussy. And with that being said, I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.